Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Leftovers Season 3, Episode 5. It's called A Matt World. So, full spoilers for the episode. And are you counting the mats in your head to
I,
see
I
if I
was, yeah.
got the right amount? I know it's the right amount because it's named after the movie It's a Mad World, which I'm familiar with. So,
Yes.
so
Still sounds like too many, doesn't it?
it does. It sounds like there's one too many, but that's just how it is. So, um, yeah, it's been a while since we recorded the last one. We've been very busy because of Netflix putting out shows and Amazon putting out shows, and October being like horror movie month. It's been a very hectic time schedule wise, which is why we were supposed to finish Leftovers before we even hit that time period, but things got delayed. So we're now sort of playing catch up after the fact here. But here we are. So this is episode 5, and this episode is about Matt trying to get to Australia because he wants to bring Kevin home because I think originally we were thinking he just wants to get his book back, but he's actually wanting to bring Kevin back to Jarden for
Yes.
the anniversary for the 14th. He wants to get him back, and Michael and John are coming with, and Laurie kind of tags along as well. Not that Matt's very happy about that,
No,
but
he hasn't really got much choice in it, though, has he?
that's kind of the thing. Although we don't start with that, we start with a very odd scene.
Yeah. I thought it was weird from the opening credits as well, which were like it was all this French scene. I didn't know, obviously, I don't know what it was saying, but it was really obviously French, and the only word I caught was depart.
Yeah, it was also very low key musically speaking. It was just like a sort of low kind of thing, and it was more speaking over it rather than.
Yeah, a little like almost like a church choir.
Yeah, I didn't like it very much as an opening title sequence. I have to admit.
Not as an opening title sequence, but I like it in general.
I yeah, you know what? I like this show a lot. It's never had a good opening title sequence for me. I've not liked any of them.
No, and you have like multiple attempts this season.
Yeah, this season's had a different one every episode, and even the visuals though, which have stayed the same, I feel like they just don't work that well. I don't know what it is, but so we start with this really weird opening on, and I kind of got that eventually that it was like, oh, this is probably why the flights are grounded. Whatever this is leading to, that's what this is. Um, you have so basically one of the soldiers on the submarine has gone rogue. I'll say rogue, possibly crazy, and he strips down completely butt naked
Yeah.
and starts attacking the other soldiers, and in slow motion starts running through the submarine as he's being chased by these other soldiers, and he's running there down all in all his glory. Everything's flapping around in slow motion. It's very surreal as this music's playing. I'm like, what am I watching? What did I
Yeah, it was strange, wasn't it?
what did I get into here? And then he locks himself in the sort of the main sort of chamber, and he's got that thing where you have to turn both keys. Like those two people are meant to have the keys
Yeah.
to, and you get the impression he had one of them anyway. He was one of these people.
Yes, and he just took it off the second one.
Yeah,
Because at first, when he strips off and then he knocks the guy out, I thought he was going to take his uniform or something. And he was like, just for a quick change, almost. He was ready.
yeah, but he just takes a key, so
He
he's
just
got
takes the
both
key.
keys,
Yeah.
and he then very athletic individual is trying to like turn both because they're on opposite sides of the room, and he's basically stretching his leg across and his arm across to try and turn both
Yeah,
at the
I'd
same
never
time.
get this done.
Oh yeah,
He's lucky he's tall enough, isn't he?
I would even get half that. I mean, maybe I'd get half that done just because my arm span would reach that, but the rest of it.
I mean, no, look, you say that. Half of it done is turning one key.
No, I don't mean that. I just mean the
I know,
distance.
I'm just being pedantic.
Yeah, I just meant the distance between.
I know, but
Oh. You've basically won this stupid Australia thing. Why
I
are you
know.
giving me shit?
Because I haven't gloated about
no,
that yet.
not that this one counts necessarily.
Oh, come on, it counts.
No. They're on Australian waters for a lot of
That
this
counts as
episode.
Australia.
Eh,
No,
technically.
that counts. If Australia owns it, it's theirs. It counts.
But does Australia really own the ocean?
That part of it, yes.
I beg to differ. I beg to differ. No one can
Right.
really own the water.
You go out there and be a pirate then. That's what you're saying.
The water is free.
Christ. Oh boy.
So yeah, he turns the keys. That's when we cut to the next scene, and we get the idea that it's detonated a nuclear explosion in the Pacific Ocean. Not on land, but for whatever reason, this person has decided to do this.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be more.
I don't know why. I mean, there's some random crazy theories thrown about in the episode, but none of them seem to make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there'll be more on this later. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be left as one of these things in leftovers where it's just completely
Just a thing. Yeah.
It's divine intervention to keep everyone in Australia because now Kevin can't leave. And that's why Matt and Nat are going. He's like, no. He goes to this person who goes to his church. He's like, hey, you can fly this. We have exemption because technically it's classed as like a refuge because it's bringing supplies to people
it's
that
a relief
are in need.
mission.
And he's like, yeah, so you take me. Here's 20 grand. I'll give you this, but you take us to Australia. You bring us back. We have to get him back by the 14th.
See, that's the thing. We keep talking about how it's going to happen in Miracle, or Matt keeps talking about how whatever it is, it's going to happen in Miracle. But I mean, you mentioned this could be another case of divine intervention, which we've had a lot of in the show, arguably. Is something whatever's meant to happen is supposed to happen in Australia on the 15th?
It may be. It might be. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to get a globe out and look at it. But like, is Jarden and a location in Australia? Are they the sort of opposite ends of the earth?
They can't be, surely.
Nah, because it's probably what matches Australia on the other side.
Somewhere higher than Texas.
Somewhere in the Atlantic, probably North Atlantic, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe even Canada, a push. Something like that. No, not Canada. It's further over to the side than that. It doesn't matter. I'm just thinking out loud. Like, is that what it is? It's like the opposite part of the earth.
No, I know what you're saying. But it's not.
It's fine. So Laurie's coming along, which Matt is not happy. He tries to shoo her off, and she's like, she was cracking me up in this episode. There's a lot of FU Matt at various points when they get grounded in Tasmania. They're not allowed to fly straight to Melbourne, and they have to get the ferry. And they go in, and Mac's like, "Can I have 3 tickets to Melbourne, please?" And Laurie's like, "Seriously, Matt, F you." He's like, "Oh, fine.
Fine, 4.
Just going to leave Laurie stranded in Tasmania. Sure.
He would as well.
He probably would. Like, this is the funny thing. It's a Matt-focused episode. But it's different for a couple of reasons compared to the last 2 seasons of Matt episodes. Is one, he's not completely on his own. Like, he's got this group who are kind of with him the whole time. But 2, the big difference, I think, is that in this one, he's actually kind of unlikable, where you feel like he's crossing a lot of lines. And not
in his previous episodes, you're always... you're going, you just want him to succeed. You're like, come on, you know, you can be all right.
And even if he seems kind of deluded in those episodes, you just feel like, this is the best of intentions. Whereas in this one, it's like... This is an obsession. This doesn't feel like it's better for anyone but him. Like, he's just convinced he has to do this, and it feels like he's going off the deep end. No pun intended, given we're mostly focused in the water. But that stuff was really cracking me up with Laurie and her, like, just giving him back talk and not listening to him. It was good stuff. He's not the second coming. Maybe you suggesting that he was the second coming and writing a Bible about him is maybe what made him break again and travel halfway across the world to get away from you. Maybe consider that, Matt.
Yeah, he doesn't take it so well, does he?
It's a valid point. It's a very valid point.
It is.
But so they want to get back to Texas for the 14th. And because of that, when they say, the ferry tonight's been bought out by a private party, and the next one that's available is in 2 days.
Day after tomorrow, yeah.
So he's like, no, that won't work. And he's like, well, the only way you can get on this one is if you go to the people who have hired it, and maybe they'll let you on. So they go, and so it turns out there's some weird cult that...
Of course there is.
...worships a lion named Francis. It was Francis.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure it was Francis.
I'm going to have to tell you, won't it? But that doesn't sound right. I agree it began with an F. That doesn't sound right.
I could...
Frasier.
Oh, maybe Frasier. You're right. It wasn't that big of a jump, though. God damn it.
Like I said, it was with an F. But I was like, that's not right.
Oh, but yeah. So they go up to the port, and they're with this. She's got a tiger or a lion headdress thing on. It's like, so you're one with our people. They're like, sure. Not on the list. Well, we're friends with the captain too, like that guy with the red hat. Yeah, really? You sure? And then Matt and I like that Michael's standing behind him. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he's just like, no, we're not lying to you. Stop this. And Matt's like, come on, Michael. This is for the Lord's work here. We're doing good work. But he's like, okay, fine. We've got a very important person who's in trouble. They're stranded in Melbourne. We need to get there. Blah 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 blah. and she's like, "Right, there's going to be a lot of sex on here. You know, it's basically like this lying orgy cult." And he's like, "That's fine. We can live with that." And she's like, "Okay, I'll let you on if you tell me the filthiest joke you know." And again, I was cracking up because Laurie just steps into frame. He's like, "All right, so there's a parrot that goes to."
She's like, I've got this.
Yeah, and she's like, "No, not you, him." And I don't think I was prepared for the joke that Matt then said to this lady. He tells a joke that goes like the following: "What is the difference between a pastor and a pimple? A pimple waits until you're 12 to come on your face." Coming from him, that is 100 times funnier than anyone else.
Yes. I mean, relatively funny in itself, in that dark humor way.
Oh, that's an okay dark joke, sure.
It's fine. Yeah, it's kind of on the low end of those sort of jokes. It's fine, but you know, you can do better. But from him, that's like, no, though, that was intense.
He just told a joke about priests being paedophiles, which, given who he is a very risky joke. But it gets them on, so they're on there. There's constant walking past orgies and sex in the episode, where, especially with him, as he's walking past various people all go at it. But she tells them there's one rule, although she does say that there's a rule: after midnight, no man should say Fraser's name, or less they become him.
Yes.
That's important for later. Which, I mean, obviously, it's like Chekhov's gun. Of course, it's going to pop up later.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're reminded of it as well before it happens.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's definitely happening.
Because he says it in front of Laurie, and Laurie's like, "Hey, don't say his name unless you become him." I don't even think she knows what that means either. Like,
she has no idea. She's just messing around with him.
Yeah. So the things to keep note of, like, what goes on in this episode then. Matt's sick. Matt's getting nosebleeds, and it seems like whatever he had as a kid is back, and he is dying. That becomes clearer as the episode goes on. Is that why he's so determined to do this? Like, does he think this will save him if he gets him back on the 14th? You know. So you've got that, and then you've got the other thing where this guy with the red cap, who is a former Olympian and broadcaster, who had a rock climbing accident, and after the rock climbing accident, where he theoretically should be dead, he says he is now God, and he's handing out cards.
Not just, he should be dead. Apparently, he fell 100 feet, his neck was snapped, his friend left the dead with the neck snapped body in a cave so it wasn't eaten, came back to recover it with the authorities, and he was sat there and said he was God. Okay, then.
That's relatively convincing.
This show has asked me to swallow a lot of things, but...
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't think it's true, right? I think... I mean, obviously, it's easy to say, it's not true, he's not actually God. But... And I think that's kind of... Obviously, Matt doesn't think he's a God. He's actually offended, because he hands out this card. Like, it's basically a fact card. It's like frequently asked questions. And it's like, oh, yes, I did have a hand in this. No, I had nothing to do with that. That's not true. All these kind of things.
Yes, evolution is real, but it doesn't work the way you think.
Yeah, just all these, like, statements, and Matt's just obsessed with it. And, Michael's a pretty reasonable guy, because even earlier on in the episode when he's talking about Laurie, yeah, she doesn't believe in what we do, but that's okay. She's trying to help in her own way. Maybe she can help you if you talk to her. It'll help you, it'll help you get through things. The fact that Mary left, which actually was one of the things I really liked early on when she's first trying to get on the plane, and Matt's like, "Hey, where's your whistle, Laurie? It seems like you have to blow off some steam." It was just like, oh man, he's making digs to season one.
Such a dick right now. Yeah. I love it.
So basically, like, after he's had another conversation with Laurie, and Laurie's kind of given in and saying, "Oh, maybe we'll try it your way, and we'll let Kevin think he's a special, and we'll try that." He witnesses the guy in the red cap throwing someone overboard on the boat. Yes. And he tries to warn people, and then he jumps in the water himself to try and rescue whoever it is with the life, the life thingy.
The ring.
The ring, yeah. I'm sure there's a better name for those.
The life thingy.
It's not called the ring either.
Well, I mean, it's a ring.
It is a ring, but I'm sure there's a proper name for it.
That's better than calling it the life thingy.
Whatever. So
it's a rubber ring.
Sure, but I'm sure there's a proper name.
Probably.
You're just arguing with me on things for the sake of it now. Stop it.
It's because it's been a while since we've done this. I've got to get it back out of my system.
Oh god. So, but everyone thinks he's crazy. Like, there's no manifest because it's a private party. It's a private boat hire. There's no manifest. There's no one to check. The captain's like, yeah, I wouldn't call the guy the Cap a friend, and he explains the backstory of who he is and what he says he is.
Yeah, because we got that bit before where obviously we mentioned how Matt's dying. He's bleeding from his nose, and he's son out, and the guy comes and goes, "Hey, did God punch you? I know God punches a lot of dudes. We got some ice because God tends to punch a lot of folk."
That was the line, yes.
Like, this is so surreal.
Yeah, and so it becomes him being kind of obsessed, and he's trying to get people to listen to him, and he's like trying to convince Laurie and John and Michael, and they're like, yeah, this doesn't happen. We're not going hunting for someone, and he ends up trying to find him. He goes into the crowd in the main part of the ship where they're having the party. He grabs a megaphone. He's talking to them. He doesn't grab the megaphone yet. Like, he gets the megaphone after, of course, he says the name. He says Fraser, and they all start acting. They get a thing around his neck, and they sit him down in the chair, and they're like, okay, where's this going? Are they about to sexually assault this guy? Like, what?
Yeah, because I mean, we haven't mentioned the story of the lion. Is that he was this old lion, and they brought him in, and then overnight he slept with every single one of the female lions in this zoo, and they all got pregnant.
And before that, those lionesses were refusing to mate with the male lions they had in the zoo.
Yes.
But for some reason, they all had sex with this lion. And they bring out a skeleton of a female lion, and they've got like what I can only describe as a funnel attached to its crotch, and seemingly they're going to jerk Matt off until he's giving his seed to the lion.
Yes.
And quite rightly, he
goes, no, what the hell are you doing? I'm not going through this shit.
Yeah, he forces his way out of it. It's feeling. I mean, I guess for anyone who's actually in the party, who's actually come here intentionally, they know this is what happens if you say it. So for them, it wouldn't be necessarily assault.
Yeah, they're all in on this.
Yeah.
So that as far as they're concerned, this is all consensual because this is what everyone who's there has agreed to.
Yeah. They know this is the rule. But for him, it's just no. He's just a random guy that they're going to. Yeah, whatever. So he grabs a megaphone and he's like, "Oh, you should all be ashamed of yourself. You're a bunch of idiots. You're all doing this, and there's people dying, and blah blah blah." It's Matt, and it feels like he's really losing it. He's really losing it, and it all comes down to this great sequence where he actually finds God and then gets punched. Like, that happens somewhere in the middle of all this, and he gets left behind. But then Matt decides to go and start prepping, because Laurie's like, "Oh, maybe you should go lie down," and he's like, "Oh yeah, they offered me a bed in the paramedics, and I think I'll go. I think I'll lie down, get some rest." And they're all like, "Yeah, you should, Matt." And he instead gets a wheelchair from the infirmary, and you're like, "Oh god, he's going to try and torture this guy, isn't he?" And
because he grabs the axe, the fire safety axe.
Yeah, and he hits him, and then he has him tied up next to the lion's cage. They're on like sort of the cargo area of the ship where the lion is, and it's just a case of, no, you're going to talk to me now. And this was a fascinating conversation. This was also, I just glanced over what someone in this episode is credited as a vigorous handjob guy. I think that's pretty funny.
I don't recall which one that is. I'm not gonna
lie.
Actually,
I think I do remember. It's when they're just sitting talking. I think it's 2 or 3 of them are sitting at the little bar table.
Oh, and there's the guy in the background.
He's just masturbating, or he's masturbating someone else off furiously.
Yeah, in the next table.
Yeah,
it could be that.
Yeah.
See, the problem is there's so much of it in this episode that saying one specific instance is like, well, you know.
Yeah, I did like how as Matt goes towards John and Laurie, this like naked couple walking past him go, "Don't even bother with those two."
Yes, because they got asked to be part of a foursome and kind of politely declined.
Yeah. Everyone's there to have some fun, and they're turning people down. Here's a question: when you go into a thing like this, do you have to like get yourself checked for STDs before you go?
Really bloody hope so.
Yeah, like you have to like prove that you've been checked and you've got the all clear before you get on board.
I would hope so. the more rational part of my brain says this cult doesn't give a shit.
Because they're animals.
Exactly.
Rawr. um, so yeah, so he ties up God, for lack of a better word, and
I mean, he has a name.
he does, but I'm going to call him God because it's funnier.
Yeah.
And he has God tied up, and he's like, "All right, so I've got your attention." He's like, "No, not yet, but you're talking to me now, so that's something." And he starts asking all these questions, and it gets very interesting. He's like, like he brings up the cards, like, by the like, so you're God, and you're the father of Jesus, who, by the way, doesn't seem to get a mention on your card here. He's being he's criticizing his whole thing.
Yeah, and he goes, "Oh, Jesus isn't mine."
Yeah, well, you're going to argue paternity. It's like Mary's word against mine.
I love that his story goes. He's like, "Oh, but Jesus rose from the dead. You stole his story." He's like, "No, he didn't. He rotted in that cave. He had a twin brother. That's who everyone saw after that."
Which I think, I mean, obviously it's just kind of a funny thing that Matt's going out of his head, like, listening to all this, thinking it's all gobbledygook. But then he's like, and I was thinking when he said that, the whole idea of there being two sides of a person here is kind of relevant to, think of Kevin. Think of the fact that he became someone else that he didn't remember. Not that he's a twin brother per se, but
No, I get you.
I think it's interesting that came up. If he is the second coming.
Yes, big if.
Big if, yeah, of course it's a big if. But
I mean, for that you have to assume there was a first coming, but
yeah, well that was Fraser. The Lion was the first coming.
oh, he was he was the 35th coming.
He was 1 through 35. Yeah. How did it take us that long to make a first and second coming joke in this show?
Don't know.
I mean, it's an orgy episode, so I guess it makes sense.
We saved it for the best.
Oh dear. But what I love about this conversation, it obviously goes to like these dramatic moments where Matt actually starts to believe him.
Yeah, there's that moment where, he keeps talking about how, I do this for God, God does this, and then suddenly he goes, no, you. He addresses him as if he is God.
Yeah, he starts referring to him in that sort of tense where he's talking about him as if it's him. And he's like, I do all this for you because you're watching, because, you save people and stuff. And he's like, no, you don't. You do it for you. Yeah. He basically accuses him of being selfish. And, like, I kind of believe him. Like the way he, like, ran off Mary. Because there was that moment where, earlier on in the episode, where John's like, maybe if you gave Mary some power in the relationship, like I do Laurie, maybe she would still be around. Like, if you weren't... And he's like, no, it was a test. That was just part of my test as a holy man.
To a test to see if I'd stay in Miracle.
Yeah. And yeah, so he's so devout to a fault. And we've always said that, but this guy's kind of proven it in a weird way, where he's arguing with him so intently because he's offended about what he's saying. But then he, like, as it keeps going, he starts to, like, be convinced. And it all boils up to this moment where he's like, when I was a boy, I was sick, and now I'm sick again. Why did you do that? And he's like, I can fix it.
I love how you've got such a slow build. All the music's coming in. He's putting his hand out, and you think he's going to do like the touching the head thing, which is like the classic healing image. And he doesn't. He doesn't quite do it. He just goes, right, that's it.
Yeah, just snaps his fingers. That's it. You're healed.
Yeah, and I love that the music never quite reaches its high point either, because you're expecting it to go on further. So it just kind of stops dead early.
It's because Matt realizes the moment he clicks his fingers that this is a complete and utter bullshit, and he's just bought into it. That's the moment, because obviously the guy took credit for the departure, but not a lot of other things. Which, I mean, honestly, despite the fact that this was very dramatic, there was a lot of this that was making me laugh as well. Like, well, what do you take credit for? Dinosaurs? And, just moments like that.
And then it goes up to the great departure. It's like, yeah, that one was me.
Why? Because I could. Yeah, that simple. And but no, so Matt buys into it, and it's kind of calling Matt. It's like Matt realizing himself that maybe this has all been bullshit. Like, has he been believing in this all this time because he has to, and not because he really believes it to be true? Because he's taken it to such extremes that it's more like this is just what works for him, to believe that he has a purpose.
Yeah, and it goes back to that that theory of people don't do good deeds because they're good to do. It's because it makes you feel good. Like you feel like, oh, you've done something. And for Matt's case specifically, it's that he thinks that God's seen it, so it's upping his standing in God's eyes, essentially. So he thinks that any good deed he does is actually improving himself.
It's actually my favorite part of that whole scene is when he's like, "Oh, you think you're doing all these things because I'm watching, but I'm not. I'm never watching. I don't care." Like that moment was like it was like, yeah, everything you believe has had a purpose, and the entire show has not. And obviously, I think you can interpret this and say, no, it still does, but this is like, but I think Matt is being convinced here. That's the problem, or the resolution to the scene is that Matt is actually buying into it now at this point. And I think for us being atheists, we kind of maybe lean one way over the other just because of our own sort of opinions, but certainly, like, it feels like for the first time he's maybe like self-reflecting and actually saying, no, maybe this is a fault of mine, that I do this so devoutly to the point where I push people away. I do this to the point where I hurt others to achieve what my goal. It's like earlier on, Michael, quote unquote a good Christian, if you want to call him that, like, just didn't want to lie to get into the boat. Whereas Matt's like, no, if this is what we need to do to get onto this boat and complete our very important mission, this is what we're going to do.
No, definitely. I think, we learning that he's ill again gives a lot of context for him this season. Because obviously we've been talking about how he's kind of gone off the deep end, and even the idea of all the cult stuff that he's been kind of cultivating in the town with Kevin. I mean, like, no, he's going, hey, on the 14th,
it's
he's going to get real.
He originally became so devout because he prayed to be cured, and it happened. And now that that's been taken away, he's been trying so hard to keep believing.
He's trying to prove he's more devout than ever.
Yeah.
I don't know if he actually is. Like, that's the thing. I don't know if he is more devout than ever, but I think he's desperate to prove to God that he is still as devout as he was then, or more devout, and he deserves to be healed again. Yeah,
and I think buying into this guy's bullshit and then realizing that it is bullshit makes him question everything. It makes him question his entire mindset. And that this final moment where, like, he admits to the others, "Yeah, I'm dying, by the way," and this really sort of deadpan, humorous kind of moment. And then the line, like, this group of, like, because this girl warns him who likes them, they not take it off the boat at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Because they're going to release the line. You don't know that's what they're going to do, but it becomes kind of obvious as it's building up to it.
As soon as you see the bolt cutters.
Yeah. And the line gets out, and it immediately goes for the guy in the red hat, who, by the way, like, another boat found this body, because for a long time you're thinking, did Matt just,
Yeah, everyone's questioning him. Like There's that moment where he says to John, it's like, well, you believe me that I saw this, right? And John's like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, the same way you believe that I didn't molest my wife.
And that's a good point. Yeah, that was, he referenced that. That was a good reference to a past incident. And then, yeah, so he hears about this actually from the captain after that whole scene where he's had that conversation with, quote unquote God. And he's like, no, we found that boat. And it was kind of proving, like, it was almost evidence to the contrary that, no, some of this is real. You did see what you thought you saw. You're not mad.
Yeah.
But we have that final moment where the line gets out and it goes for God, and it just, it's mauling him. He's like dead.
Yeah. God is dead. That is the end of this episode.
That's basically it. For Matt, God is dead. So no. So he was actually right in the first place that this guy was bullshit. But the whole thing is that he ended up buying into it anyway because he just wanted to believe.
And he's too desperate to believe in something. He has to, because it's the idea that if he doesn't believe, what's the point of everything that he's done?
Yeah. So, so we've had two full episodes that I will count then as Australia. We have 3 episodes left.
Wait. Why is there only 2 episodes that you'll count as Australia?
Kevin Senior does not count. We established this at the time.
No, that counts. That whole episode counts. I will concede the ending scene of the episode before that, like 10 minutes. Fine. I'll leave that one off. I'll go, fine, whatever. I won't have that one. But I'm having the Kevin Senior one.
So there's a moment where John says to him in this episode, maybe Matt, we just have to accept that whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen in Australia. And I just went, John, you shut your goddamn mouth. No. Back to Texas, you assholes.
Oh, this is it. This is Australia for the end now. I think the sad fact is, though, I think you're starting to agree with me. At this point, it looks like now it's a proper assumption. It's a proper guess. When you said, "Oh, we're going to Australia next season," there was no merit for it. There was no merit. Like,
Sure, we're in Australia now, but I will maintain to the day I die. That prediction was absurd when you made it.
But it was right. And that's what matters.
The barbed wire on fire truck is not good enough for you anymore. I feel like we have to think of some other ways. Maybe this is how I'm envisioning your death. So I want someone on a motorbike with a sort of rope attached to it to drag you across at a nice high speed. However, the road is being covered entirely for miles and miles in sandpaper, and you're naked.
I feel like, you can set this up, you can, watch me die in this painful way, but in your mind you'll be going, he was still right about Australia, that bastard.
No. I will not be. I will move on to other things in life.
So this will haunt you.
Oh dear. Alright, that has been episode 5 of season 3 of The Leftovers. We will obviously get 3 episodes left. The plan, they won't be up before that then, but the plan is to record all 3 of those before The Punisher hits Netflix. Because if we don't, then there'll probably be another gap.
Yeah, if we don't make it by Punisher, you're not getting any more till December.
However, if we record them all before then, you'll hopefully have no more breaks, and it'll be one a week until we're done. That is the plan. We're going to try our best to stick to it.
Yeah.
But we're just warning you that there's the possibilities, because the plan is just to record the last 3 all in the next week or so. So hopefully we make that target, and we have no more delays. So apologies for the delays we've had, but we're getting to them now, and we will be finished.
We still like the show a lot. We
love the show. I love the show.
We're sticking this out. This is great.
I love the show. Admittedly, after being away for a month and coming back to the slow motion naked running in a submarine as this French music plays,
Like,
I was
why am I watching this?
like, what is this? Did I forget what this show was? What's happening?
And then it cut to us like going to talking about Australia, and you're like, God damn it, it's this show.
I almost turned it off in a rage. Screw this. Let's watch more Stranger Things, please.
Yeah.
But there you go. So that is. So let us know what you think of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fudge for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can do that over there. You do get these a week early over there, which is, part of why the gap feels so long in some ways, because this won't even be public for another week for everyone else. But it's coming, so because we've recorded it, we're done. It's finished. We're here. But that's it. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV, guys. We'll see you next time.